last time on the Empire's Edge.
I'm going to cast Speak with Animals and approach the most local looking animal I can find. I mean, a bird isn't necessarily from here. Stop laughing at me!
Part of the column retracts, and as it spins internally, what is inside that area is a sword.
Oh, nice.
I didn't think you had anything to say to me that would be worth listening to. Isn't that Sparky's boat?
Yep, we're taking him upstream for him.
As you're walking back to the boat, you're thinking to yourself, something is tracking you. So you're still rowing upstream. You're heading toward Hiller. Night's coming on. Anything you guys want to do before you get to the docks at Hiller?
Before we get to the docks, I think we need to come up with an answer for why. When we get there and ask somebody to give us directions to the Horseshoe Falls, they very well could say, why do you want to go there?
Right, and we do want an answer for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have any ideas what we could tell them?
You two are in the area, so you're from the area. You're more likely to have a reason than I.
It's entirely possible you were going somewhere. I take people everywhere all the time.
I was thinking about saying something like, my father spoke of it often and he just died, so it's kind of like a pilgrimage trip kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I could be leading you there.
Yeah,
maybe
you could be the
Boris
guide.
for some muscle. I mean, he's a bit
security,
bit more out of place because he is quite obviously an armored knight.
Yeah, we could say that, we met so many people on the road that that Boris started coming with us just as kind of an added layer of protection.
Right.
It might also help. How long do you guys think we should stay in Hiller?
Not long.
I agree.
Not long at all.
But I was thinking if we could take a meal like in the inn or someplace, maybe we could get some information. And if we say that we have somebody with us for protection, people could say, yeah, no kidding. You need it right now.
Right,
and we could get
yeah.
some information. What do you think?
No, I like that plan a lot.
Sounds good.
Are we ready to put in?
Yeah.
All right, so
Then
then...
row, men, row.
Roman?
What are we going to do about the...
In this end of country.
The boat is not that big.
What are we going to do about the undead that we found along the way here?
I don't know. I think it's tracking us.
Not mention it unless they bring it up.
When you get to the docks at Hiller, there's no one there to greet you. It's dusk. Most people are in their houses right now. They're done for the day. Jacob, you've been to Hiller before, and you know that the village of Hiller is really the shape of a capital T. And the river touches both the left-hand branch of the capital T and the base of the T. So the creek, the river rather, runs on a diagonal.
Okay.
The docks are at the very, very bottom of the T. So the whole town is directly due north of you. As you put in, tie off, there's two little piers. You've tied off to one of them. You're getting out of the boat, and no one is even making a move. You don't even see anyone in the town right now to come down and talk to you or greet you.
Gotcha. First thing I want to do is I do want to take a moment to take a perception roll of the area around, knowing that we potentially are being tracked by who knows what.
Okay, go ahead, roll it. Are you looking for something in particular?
Looking to see if there's any signs, maybe any movement in the woods off main drag outside the city that we're being watched.
Okay, go ahead.
Big old fat 6.
It's just dusk, and it seems like the town, you've been here a couple of years ago. It seems like as it did then. There is no real main road. Like I said, the shape of Hiller is like a capital T, and there are trails and lanes that branch out of it. It's really a difficult town to get to by road. You're just flat heading through the forest to get to it. The river is the best way to get to it.
Okay.
And I'm going to make an investigation check about the town itself rather than the surrounding area to gauge if there's anything that seems out of place.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been here before. I'll help him out if he's looking for anything in particular.
Okay, go ahead and roll with advantage if you wish.
Thank you. Natural 20 for a 22.
Nice. That's good advantage. He's pointing around to this and that.
The other one was a 5. That's magnificent advantage.
Well, Boris, Jacob was talking to you, saying things about there's a spring house over there, the lumber mill is over on that side of town, and he was just directing to you to where things are. And so as you were looking about just to make sure, your job, things are safe, it does seem like you can hear people talking, you hear the sounds would be typical of nighttime, dusk coming on. It seems normal. Everything seems fine.
Okay.
Can you sense, previously sometimes you had been able to sense if there was evil. Can you do that kind of sense?
I can't really sense evil particularly, just the presence of unusual things, angelic, demonic, or undead things near me. It's a fairly limited range, but I can try.
We know we're being tracked by something, so...
Right, but how close?
Right.
I'll go ahead and activate Divine Sense anyway.
Okay.
and just gauge within 60 feet for shenanigans.
Yeah, so you're still standing on the little pier, little dock really is more accurate. And as you turn, 60 feet just gets you to the far side of the river.
Yeah, it's
And you're just up into, you're just registering the very first building, and it looks like it's a lumber warehouse. I say warehouse, it's a small building. And beyond that, there's nothing within range of you.
right. Yeah,
Which side did we dock on compared to the side that we saw the undead on?
The same side.
Okay. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does not seem to be afraid of water.
Oh, okay.
If that was a concern for you. Water is not a significant barrier for this thing.
it'll get to us regardless of which side of the river we're on.
Okay. Well, is anybody exhibiting any curiosity about the fact that we're standing on the dock?
Not that we can see. It seems like it's rather late in the day. Nothing really is going on right now. We might want to find somebody because it'd be a bit odd.
Do you have any idea which house is Hugh's?
I don't know who Hugh is
Okay.
off the top of my head, but I do know where the tavern is, and if we're looking for someone, that'd be the first place I'd start.
Right. You do know that further up, it's called Crates Inn, that some time ago the people of Hiller thought they'd make more of a splash in the world, and they built an inn, a couple of larger buildings, and then really no one showed up. And so the buildings are in a very, very poor state, very run down. But they still use that as a nominal inn. That's the meeting place. And it's up where the upright of the T meets the cross member of the T on the east side of the road.
So we head towards the inn?
Yeah, let's
I'll
Walk
stay
the
and
boat.
mind the boat so nobody takes anything.
Okay.
Two are
Maybe start
walking up.
offloading stuff.
Okay. As you two are walking up through the town, a few people standing out at the edge of their little lane that connects their yard, their house, to the main road in the town, nod to you. Just give a little nod, a little bit of a wave.
back. Yeah.
But nobody seems to take particular. They don't seem to really care that much that you just showed up. Obviously, you came from the dock. Everyone that shows up came from that little dock, and you're just heading up toward the inn. Nobody stops you unless you stop somebody else.
Yeah, I stop the most friendly looking person.
the most local looking
the most
horse.
local looking person and say, we're making Jacob's delivery for him. Do you know?
No, we're making
Sparky's.
Sparky's.
I'm sorry, we're making Sparky.
Jacob is that one, yeah.
We're making Sparky's delivery for him. Do you know where we can find Hugh?
She says, "Oh, that's wonderful. You're doing that." She says that her name is Sherry Ingot. She lives in one of the houses on the left-hand side of the street. This time of the day, work's all stuff. I think he's probably going to be up over at Crates. I'd try up at Crates. He's probably having a drink right now.
Thank you,
I
Sherry.
do have the whiskey that I was tasked with bringing with me. So I said, yeah, I thank her as well, and we continue on our way towards Crates.
Yeah, so just the next building, once you pass Sherry Ingot's house on the left, there's a couple more buildings on the left, and the only really large building on the right-hand side, where there is something of a T intersection, again, not much of a village, is a larger building. It's 2-story. It's the only 2-story building, and there's no sign or anything else, but there are some people standing out in front of it. There's obviously lights and something happening inside, too.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're shooting us any odd looks, well,
Let's pause. Can we pause just for a minute and look at them, see if there's anything that we notice about the way they're, anything that could be threatening? before we
intense
walk
eye
in?
contact. Yeah,
Go ahead and do an investigation roll if you want to try to pick something up about them.
that man has a gun on his hip. What's a gun?
A 7.
Just look like people.
Well, that's good. They look like people. That's a good sign.
What's a hip?
Yeah, so unless any of them give us any weird looks as we start walking towards the door, we'll just continue on in,
Okay, yeah, you walk in. Again,
hoping that he wasn't one of the people standing by the door.
Yeah.
No one, again, it's a little town. People come through it periodically. It isn't a big deal for them to see people that they might not have seen before, even this late in the day, apparently. It just doesn't raise any kind of a ruffle.
Just trying to avoid any run-ins with the Hiller Mafia.
Doesn't exist.
There you go. Yeah, so walk on in up to the innkeep, barkeep. Walk up to the counter and find the guy standing there. He said, "Hey, hello, my name is Jacob Treadstone. We come from Warland. We're looking for Hugh."
And the guy turns just a couple people down in the bar, and the guy just points at him right there
Yeah, cool.
and goes back to whatever he was doing.
I appreciate it, and go down and say and introduce myself. Hello, Hugh. My name is Jacob Shredstone.
I don't recall ever meeting you before.
Oh no, I'm here from Warland. I was sent here with a boat from Sparky with your shipment. He told me to give you this, and I hand him the bottle.
Oh, that's very good of you. I appreciate that. Thanks. Where's all the stuff in the boat?
We just parked it down at the docks. We
Parked it?
we just
tied off at the docks.
Tied off at the docks just a little bit ago.
Oh, well, that's good. Kind of late in the day, but I guess we better get it all offloaded.
Well, we have many people to help us with.
He gets up right away and doesn't wait for you. Just starts walking down in that direction to get the stuff in and undercover.
We follow him.
We found him.
Yay!
Gets down there. He sees that by that time, probably about a third of the stuff is already offloaded onto the dock, and doesn't even ask who Boris is. He just gets the stuff and starts taking it to one of the nearer buildings that's right by the little dock itself. Apparently, it's his house, and he opens the door and starts setting his stuff inside and expects you to do the same.
Yep. And assist him. Yep.
Okay. Within about 45 minutes, the thing's all unloaded and it's all set and done. Now, I'm not supposed to be giving you anything because I'll be taking the boat back down empty myself.
Yeah, that was our agreed upon. We just needed a way of getting upriver, so that was our payment enough.
Well, I appreciate that. Where are you guys heading this late at night? Because at this point, it's dark.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we're probably staying here for one night. We'll head out in the morning. But
Yeah.
Here? My house?
No. At the inn. Pardon my friend. We're heading up to the Horseshoe Falls.
Up to the Horseshoe. Oh, that's kind of unusual. Most people don't go to the Horseshoe much anymore. If anything, the fishing, if that's what you're going for. And he eyes you, Boris, noticing how heavily you're armed. You don't look like someone typically that's brought up here for game or
and how
trap
much
or
I'm
anything
lacking a bow or fishing pole.
I'll just smack him with his hammer.
Yeah, or use my sword.
The fishing right here, just down below the bridge, is probably better than it is up at the Horseshoe. I'm guessing you're not fishing.
No. Can you tell us which creek we should follow to get to the Horseshoe?
Yeah, the Quiet Talfava splits into three. Just take the middle one of the two forks.
Thank you.
we appreciate it.
And how far up from that split?
Oh, I've only, you can't take a boat up there, maybe a small paddle boat, but I've just walked it and I've never been in a hurry. Maybe a couple of days, maybe 3.
And how far down's the split from here?
How far north in the Talfava? Gosh. A few miles, maybe, something like that.
Thank you.
You've been a great help. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, well, the Talfava, it bends. It bends to the north for a bit right here, and then it's going to turn back and go south again. If you find yourself going due south, you've gone too far and you've missed the split.
All right.
Thank you.
And he, nods his head to you. He still has that bottle of whiskey, and he walks back up toward crates.
Yeah.
And we head there too.
Yeah, we will.
So yeah, I imagine it's also the inn. Yeah. So unless you guys have anything pressing to get to, I think we should.
Get rooms for the night.
Get rooms.
Yep.
Okay, so you go in. The guy who'll charge you a silver for the 3 of you. Do you want one room or do you want all different rooms?
I want my own room. I value my privacy.
We might as well each to our own then.
He just says, "Well, just go upstairs and find a room. There's nobody else staying here."
Done.
It's almost sad. Yeah.
The stairs are a bit shaky. The whole place seems a little bit shaky. The whole place seems like
the roof leaks. The walls creak. There's a giant man-eating clam in the backyard.
How do you know? Anything else you guys want to do
Why
before
is
you
the clam
bed
in the
down for the
backyard,
night?
not in the river?
I think we should have some dinner. If they're offering any dinner.
Buy food, eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
all
so
the normal
night.
things you do on an excursion to Hiller.
So after your food's brought to you, you've been eating, and it's a very, very simple stew. You're done eating. No one seems to be that inquisitive, but word has already seemed to have gotten around. You're heading up toward the Horseshoe. Again,
was fast.
no one approaches you. Well,
There's 8 people and they're all here.
Bad gas travels fast in a small town.
and Hugh obviously said, why you guys are up here. When you were getting your room, he would have said what's going on. The woods go right up to. There's very little cleared space around Hiller itself. It's just right along the river. Right near where the splits are. So there's not a whole lot to the place. There's a small lumbering industry, and they hunt and they trap. There's a fur trade too. But it's toward the end of the nighttime when everything's starting to quiet down. People are heading back to, wherever their own places are. A couple people just pull up alongside the fire in this room and are curling up as though it's just expected or typical that that's where they spend the night. There's no closing time. They're not locking the place up or anything else. They seem to know and trust each other. Boris, you get an odd sensation that there's something outside that seems out of place.
I'd whisper covertly to the other two, there's something odd outside. Let's check it out.
Feel like a morning walk? Or a midnight walk?
Yeah.
Can you use your sense to see if it's the thing that's tracking us?
I'll try and see if it's undead, fiendish, or celestial.
There is something you would say undead, and as the moment you're triangulating, you're turning, you go to the window.
The ability isn't that precise. It's a yes or no in 60 feet.
We'll take that back. Yes. And you would have thought on the north side of the building, like the top of the T where this thing's at the corner, the side the door is not on.
North side of the building.
All right, yeah, walk out the door, immediately start looking around.
Yeah, and circle around to the north side, being aware. Not drawing sword yet. Probably once I'm around the building, kind of out of immediate sight of people, I will draw that sword.
Okay, so ever make a investigation check.
With advantage because we're helping each other?
Certainly.
19.
So I'm picturing you
13.
each have like one hand cupped over the other person's ear to help the next person
20.
down the line.
Every time!
Yeah, your 13 beat my... Your 19 beat my 13, so...
You hear someone running across the street, and the way that it sounds, you all hear them running across the street, and then between the two houses, it sounds very like close between those houses, as though the sound amplified a different way. Zelen in particular, you picked up on that. And then you lose track of it as it goes into, like right into the woods, right behind where these houses are. But something definitely got away in a hurry.
Do you want to chase it?
Go after it, yeah.
In the dark in the woods.
It's
How well do you see at the dark?
less than good.
Poorly.
I see really bad in the dark.
Well, at least I want to run to the edge of the woods where it ran in there just to see if we can see anything.
Yeah.
Well, see if if it's making any tracks that we could.
That too, yeah.
So you're running there first. So you run across the street. That's easily enough done. You go between the two buildings, and it's already, it's fairly indistinct. You have to go very slowly. You don't know what kind of old, hand tools and whatnot, boards and whatnot there are. So you're moving very slowly already until you get to the back corner of the buildings you're walking between. And again, it's just, you can tell that it's trees and it's darkness. There aren't any other lights beyond that. There's no shapes of buildings beyond that. So you're just talking about Brimroar Hills woodland stretching.
All right, new plan for our room tonight.
Do you want me to produce flame?
No, we don't
See
want
if
to
we
scare
can
the
see.
villagers.
Okay.
New plan for the room tonight. Let's get one room with a window facing in this general direction. We'll take shifts sleeping so we can always keep an eye on the tree line.
Keep a watch on the stairs. If it's going to come up, it'll come up through the stairs rather than try and climb. And if it will climb and break a window, that'll make enough noise to alert us.
Okay, so you guys head back to the...
It's not like they slide up.
Could you tell?
I mean like
could you see any
watching
tracks?
outside, not watching the stairs inside the building. I mean like actually
Yeah,
watching
it's
the
probably
tree
going
line.
to come back from the woods. I agree.
Yeah.
Did you see any tracks? Do you think you could track it tomorrow?
Bit too dark.
Is it? Okay.
All right, so you set your watches, you get back to the room. You do make sure that you have a room that's facing toward the woodland, toward the top of the T, so to speak, of the village itself. And taking these rotating turns, every once in a while you hear somebody downstairs stir and move, but it doesn't sound unusual. You never hear anyone on the stairs. Like there isn't anybody that comes up to ask how you're doing, knock on the door, tell you your breakfast is ready, anything. It's just morning. Whoever's shift that was on, you've gone through the night and there's been no other disturbance.
Gotcha, yeah. I think even before breakfast, just going right back to that same alleyway between the houses to see if the tracks are disturbed or if I can see them now.
Agreed.
Okay, go ahead and roll your nature check.
Survival?
I'm sorry, survival check.
24.
Nice.
Yeah, you can definitely see there's tracks in here. That you can see your own boots, but you can see that overlapping with those, yours overlapping the others, there are other boot prints. Do another survival check that you think you could pick up that particular pair of boots.
Okay.
The shape of the boot, the shape of the heel.
Ooh, 22.
Yeah, so make a note of that these particular tracks that you picked up in Hiller, that if you saw them again and make the DC roll, that you believe you'd be able to distinguish that boot print from your own or Zellens or Borises.
Do you think we could track it into the woods?
We can definitely try.
Okay.
Let's get some breakfast, gear up. What do you think? Do you want to go and try to track it?
Worth a shot. Is it heading in the right direction for where we want to go?
Roughly, it's heading in the same general direction that the creek's flowing, but then you also know the creek's going to make a big, or the river, I should say. It's very small at this point, but it's going to make a bend and loop in the opposite direction.
Right.
Does anybody know anything about undead to know if there's anything that would give us an advantage if we come upon it?
Okay.
Yeah, hang on, I'm looking up a thing.
Okay.
Argonian steel is what I know. Aside from that, I'm not sure.
And that's the sword that you found
Yes.
before we left. Okay, good. All right, so do you want to get a very fast breakfast, gear up, and go see if we can find this thing?
Yes.
Grab some cloud bread on the way out.
Okay. So you do just that. Call it a half an hour later. You're right back between these two buildings again.
Okay. So, and then we just start going into the woods, keeping an eye on those tracks. And
Okay. The tracks are really distinct right along the building, but once you get further into the leaves and the underbrush, it's a little more difficult to follow. Go ahead and roll that survival check again.
oh man, that's so good. 23,
Nice.
19, then a 17, then an 18.
You
Nice.
follow the track about 200 feet into the woods, and it's slowly bowing around to the right, which means the opposite direction from the creek.
Hmm.
And then the further you go, it does an actual loop, and now it's heading as though it's heading back down toward the docks. It's looping around the town to the right-hand side.
Okay.
It
So
didn't just go
do you
into the
wanna-
woods and keep on going. It's looping around.
Do you want to follow it, or do you want to head towards the waterfall?
That's a question. It's very potentially still in the area. Do we want to save?
Let's keep tracking it until
Yeah, I'd
we're
say-
sure it's heading in the wrong direction.
Because if
for
we
our
leave
goal.
it behind us, then
It
the
could
people
hurt
of
the
Hiller
people.
might not be prepared to
All right,
attack
let's
whatever
keep
it
going.
is.
All right, so give me another survival check, Jacob.
16 for a 21.
Very nice. The tracks take you right back into the town. They loop right around. They come right back in at a spring house that's not too far. It's actually right behind Hugh Littrell's house, and it's right near the docks. And you follow the track. It goes right through town, right up through the main street, and then there's a bridge across the Talfava that goes to the other side of the river, and it crosses and goes over there. You keep following it. Sometime last night, after everything was bedded down, this thing just walked back through town again.
Worst, do you have anything to offer here? This is so
Make a
bizarre.
knowledge religion check just to see if I do. 15.
Yeah, nothing in your religion says anything, just that whatever tracks he's following, it just, whoever that
Yeah.
was.
I don't know.
So is it reporting back to someone, you think? Do you think we should keep trying to track it, or do we need to get to the waterfall?
it moved through town and was no threat to the people who live here the last time it came through. So I don't see why we should keep tracking it. We have a
mission.
we have a destination in mind. We should head there.
Agreed. How much time have we spent doing this at this point?
About an hour.
Yeah, let's
Okay, all
let's
right.
just move on to the
And
waterfall.
we're burning daylight. Let's
All right, back on track to the waterfall.
yep. And so following the
Alfalfa to
till
the split.
to the split, and then there's a
All right,
couple-
And
So-
then taking the middle one.
yeah.
So following the Talfava up from Hiller is fairly difficult to do. It's very rough terrain. There's a trail that goes along it for a while, and you can see places where people would probably stop and fish along the river, easier fording places than other areas. But for the most part, you have fairly steep embankments down to it. You could actually see that wading up the river in some ways could be a lot easier. Sometimes you have to forage farther away from the actual bank itself. That's the easiest path, and you're coming back to it again. And the brush, especially down in the river basin, gets really thick. So it is slow going as you're traveling up through here. It's tough to find track or trail through this area.
Jacob, is there any way that you could obscure our path as we go? If this thing is following us, I don't know how it's tracking us. I wonder if there's a way to make it harder for it to find us.
We can try. The easiest thing is just stepping carefully, but I can
The other thing
It's-
would be to try to just walk in the water, get in the water and walk in the water. But
Is
you're
the-
in armor,
Yeah.
Boris, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure how.
Swept away and then we
not
never
sure
see
what
him
kind
again.
of plan that would be for you.
Right. Yeah.
How's it going there, Tin Man?
Yeah, I'm even noisier now.
Um,
I trip and can't get back up right and drown.
Die like Barbarossa.
help I've fallen and I
Ugh.
can't get up. I would probably still need to be in the front in order to lead us in the correct direction. If I was in the back, I could be putting some effort into covering our tracks. But
Well, maybe
stepping
I
to
could
the-
use my nature skills and my survival skills to try to cover the tracks from the back.
You can certainly do that. Go ahead and make a survival check right now to see if you can relocate dislocated logs or sticks or anything else.
16.
A lot of what you're doing is also pushing aside different branches, shrubs and whatnot, and that leaves a definite sign. So anyone that's skilled could follow you, but the things that are most obvious, you're obscuring more than what they would have been before. You've journeyed for the better part of the day, and
So after 2 hours, we didn't find that split he was talking about.
I'm sorry that
The
it
middle,
was-
the middle path.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. After a couple of hours, you do find where that creek splits. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And the middle one is fairly apparent. You're wading through one of the creeks that lead into it, getting to the next creek, and then it gets even more difficult to follow this creek up. For those listeners who are local to the Atlanta area, if you've gone to Ravencliff Falls, you know that the trail alongside the creek is very easy to follow, but imagine if the trail wasn't there. It's very steep on both sides. You're walking in the creek, or sometimes you're on sandbars, but it's a difficult way up through here.
Go ahead.
While we're going, we're looking for spots to make camp because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of just open space to just kind of spread out a bedroll that if we find a spot, that's probably going to be our best spot.
Okay, good.
Agreed.
So just roll that survival skill as you're going up. All three of you can make that one.
Oh, I'm probably gonna get beaten.
No, I didn't roll.
16.
11.
Oh, yeah. No, you're going to get beaten.
Okay, the city boy,
15.
Boris points out a spot and he says, that'd be a pretty good spot up ahead. It seems level right there. Looks like a even smaller creek is flowing into this middle branch. But as you get closer to it, Jacob, go ahead and roll your survival skill.
That's more like it. 23.
Something's wrong. You can tell that there's what looks like an animal, a dead animal up ahead, but something seems unusual about just the way this thing is sitting too.
Boris,
Yeah.
that doesn't look natural.
Right. What do you want me to do about it? I draw the longsword and approach.
Yeah, no, I draw my bow as well.
Okay, so as you're approaching it, I'm assuming, Jacob, you're out in the lead?
No, I'm in the lead.
Boris, you're in
as
the lead? All right.
Meat thing with best fighting undead capacity.
At this point, you're in a very narrow area, so the best place for you to be walking actually is in the creek itself. So you're about shin deep in water, moving through the stones, trying to keep your balance across these stones. But you can see that just up ahead on the right-hand side, there's a wider, called a beach-like area. And that's where this animal's lying dead. It's a large animal. Jacob, you notice right off that it's a bear.
Ooh.
Large black bear.
Was it killed by multiple tiny stab wounds?
You can't tell this far away, but it is definitely dead. There's a pretty good blood pool, and
Yeah.
it looks as though the thing was like rolled up, laying flat on its back, as though someone was about to field dress it, but then stopped.
Yeah, continuing towards it with caution.
Okay, so I'm sure you have bow is bent, arrows pointed at
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing.
Sword is out, shield is up.
Yeah, so Boris is walking up onto it, being the shield wall. This is definitely a bear that's bed. You don't see what killed it, but there is an incision that starts right at the base of its rib cage and goes halfway down its abdomen, and it's being held open with a stick, a forked stick, and there's a lot of blood all around it.
Any particular, like, it was opened up?
Mm-hmm.
Any organs missing that I recognize right off the bat?
Well, go ahead and do your survival skill again to see what you can tell about what's happening here.
15.
Thumbing around in it.
Well, you notice first that there is not enough blood that somebody was actually gutting it. There
Okay.
isn't intestines or lungs or anything else. If you were field dressing a deer, you'd pull everything out, that's, in and around the diaphragm to this thing where the wound is. You're pulling everything down. But you do notice that it looks like something was manipulating things in here, that as you look further inside, there are other sticks being used to prop and to brace, as though someone was trying to get close to this thing's heart without actually removing its heart.
Jacob, look for tracks. Whoever was doing this, where'd they go?
Yeah.
Did we disturb them? Did they run off?
Go ahead and roll your survival skill.
Gotcha. And then I share the information with you guys about what I noticed there. Do you have any idea why you would go towards the heart without cutting it out?
Knowledge religion.
Go ahead.
22.
10 survival.
Okay, we'll start with survival. No, you guys have all been walking around it, and you've muddied up the tracks that are right near it.
I shake my finger at them and tell them that exact thing.
That was a 22 on your knowledge religion.
Correct.
You can recall there's different things about different non-Uko faiths, the non-Church of Uko, that would put particular value on the heart and either removing the heart, eating the heart, but nothing that was like getting to the heart. That sounds completely outside of your religious experience.
I share that.
Can you tell if there's any evil residue? Can you use your religion check to see if evil's been done here, or does it work like that?
My power doesn't work like that. No.
Evil
Okay.
residue is the greatest thing, though. That sounds awesome. Great band name.
As I explain, I think once a session, I just sense the presence or absence of certain kinds of critters within 60 feet of me.
Well, let's check, because maybe the thing that was doing this
maybe
is still
it's
around
watching
here.
us. Yay!
Well, I mean, really.
All right, I'll activate my divine sense.
All right, so as you're sweeping it around, nothing seems to be within that 60-foot range.
And again, it's not like a cone; it's a radius
Oh, it
centered
is
on
radius,
me.
okay.
It's just bing.
Yeah,
Nope,
no,
nothing
there's nothing in this
Within
most
60 feet.
immediate area. Again, 60 feet, you can just see 60 feet away from yourself.
Right.
I'll return.
If you went a little bit further out where we haven't been stomping around, could you check again just to see if something was working on this? And it seems like we disturbed it when we came splashing up the creek. So I'm just wondering how far away it got.
Yeah, we can. See if I can get any sort of an idea about maybe what he's equipped with, whoever this person was. I'll take a look at the bear again to get an idea about what was used to do this more than just sticks.
Okay, so go ahead and examine the wound itself. Do an investigation on the wound.
6.
You only know this, that it doesn't look as though someone used a hunting knife. There's certain signs of what your own knife would look like, how deep the wound would be. Most people that would field dress an animal like this would cut a narrow strip of fur out and pull that fur away so you're not getting fur into the wound itself. This person used some blade, not a hunting knife, and then cut this animal open.
Cleaner or messier than a normal hunting blade would be?
Seems cleaner.
Okay,
I'm
share
gonna
that
do
with
my
you
own
guys.
examination to compare it to, like the scalpel-like incisions on
Okay,
the bugbear.
go ahead, Boris.
12.
You would say, yes, I think that kind of a knife could do an opening like this.
I share that with the party.
Want to search the body for any additional incisions, or I think
Yeah,
How-
or how did it die? It could.
blood loss?
They couldn't have killed it by cutting it this way.
Yeah, not the
They would have had to kill it
stomach, yeah.
first.
Good point. Yeah, investigate it again with
Okay.
that in mind.
Go ahead, roll one more time.
And I'll assist with it.
Okay, so roll with advantage.
Natural 20 on the first one.
Might as well just see if you get an evil natural 20.
That's 16. Okay, yeah. So
That-
what is a
that's still really
investigation? 22.
You investigate this in a way you never have with any kind of a piece of game before. You've hunted bears, and you've always taken them with arrows, typically multiple arrows. This one looks as though its neck has been crushed, as though somebody grabbed it with both hands and just crushed its neck until it was dead.
Choked out a bear. What? I'm going home.
What has hands big enough to choke a bear?
Well, it didn't say
Ogre?
choke it. It could twist it. If it didn't,
Well, it
because it said it broke its neck.
crushed its neck, not broke its
crushed
neck.
its neck.
Yeah,
I
it's-
see.
So you could tell
Like it
that
grabbed
just
it by
by
the neck with
as
both
you're
hands
going
and
through it,
choked
like
it.
you're not finding a wound, you weren't finding anything. The legs are all aiming the right direction for a dead animal. There's no broken limbs, and so you check the neck that way too. And there was too much movement. There was too much flopping around of the thing's head that its neck bones actually seem to be.
I guess
broken,
the other
vertebrae
really important
broken.
question is how long do I think this thing's been dead?
You've already rolled that check. Actually, you would think it died 5-10 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah. I share that immediately, and I'll step a little bit further, probably not 30 or 60, 20 feet a little bit away, and just do a circle around us looking for tracks
Okay, good.
that aren't ours.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll your survival check for that.
I'll do a
Boris.
sweep of the tree line, just you're not moving to not disturb any more tracks, but to see if I can see anything watching or where by your own words, large bear thrashed to death when something broke its neck.
Unnatural 20.
And 13 with
The
mine.
Zelen school of rolling dice.
I really want us to have T-shirts that just say unnatural 20.
That'd be great.
Honestly, that's probably going to be a merchandising thing now at this point.
So there's a yes on that roll. Let me address Boris's thing first. So it looks like it died right here, as though this bear had come down. You don't track the way that Jacob could. But
For whatever reasons, bear do things.
The easiest course, which would have been to the right-hand side where the two sides of the hill come down and make a little valley. It probably came right down there, the easiest way. That's how animals work. And it got down to the creek and something jumped out and grabbed it. Or this thing came up to it and wasn't afraid of it in the first place. Unless it had some other kind of abilities that could just draw the bear to itself.
I share that with the party.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that he said, let me sort Boris out first because yours is going to end with roll initiative.
No, you can tell a little further outside, actually right along the same track as you're pointing, where you would suspect the bear came walking down the hill, and roll a survival skill for that one as well, just to verify it.
12.
Yes, you verified that the bear did come from this track that's just to the right-hand side of the creek, that you can see there's boot prints that come down, and they match the boot prints that you found back in Hiller.
Gotcha, yeah. Whatever that thing was that we saw back in Hiller is here and killed this bear 10 minutes ago.
Now, if that's the same thing you saw along the Talfava, the quiet Talfava, a day and a half ago, it's a 6-foot-tall man-sized thing, with hands no bigger than any other man's hands.
And it walked here as fast as we rode a boat. Yay!
And it crushed a bear with its hands.
Yeah, I feel ready for defending myself. I think we need to find whatever this is.
Right, yeah.
All right, so we're going to follow it?
Yeah, are the tracks I found following the bears, or can I now?
Should we roll the bear into the water so whatever evil it was going to do with it, it can't do it?
I don't want to touch it at all. More so than we already have.
I want to roll it into the water because I don't want it to be
It'll
able to
just
do
get
what it's
stuck and pollute the river.
maybe bury it or something. It was doing something evil to this bear, and I don't want to.
Right,
I don't want to give it the chance to finish that.
How long does your entangle spell last? Entangle the corpse and then go looking for a fight?
That seems like a waste of the entangle spell. We might need it.
It does, unless I'm terrified this bear is going to be coming back undead. Yeah, the footprints that I found that match the ones back in the town, are they headed towards where the bear was, or looking now for that particular one, can I find the footsteps from when it was walking away from the bear?
That'd be difficult to tell up here because, you know, the subtleties of movement, the sway of the creek, anywhere heading really to the northwest will take you back to Hiller. You've turned around in the woods enough, bends in the creek, things like that. So, yeah, there's no real determiner from that one. It just goes away from the creek.
Sorry. Before we leave the bear, let me at least look at it with my knowledge of medicine. Maybe I can tell what the intention was. If it's going after its heart, maybe we could just take the heart and destroy the heart, bury the heart.
Okay, go for it.
Shot through the
so
heart.
you're rolling your...
I was going to roll my medicine.
Medicine, yeah. That's a wisdom, yeah.
17.
As you're looking deep into this thing, I'm assuming you have like a couple of sticks yourself and you're probing into this. You see something that looks angular down inside it, actually alongside the heart, a little further into the chest cavity that wasn't noticeable until you actually push the heart a little bit out of the way. You can't tell what it is without maybe getting your fingers, your hands down inside there.
Can I use a dagger and use one of my daggers to pull it out?
You can give it a try.
I'm going to try to use my dagger. There's something has been inserted in this. I'm going to try to get it out.
We'll treat it like a sleight of hand, so make a dex roll.
I don't know what that is. Oh, there it is. I see it. I found it.
Yay.
19.
Yeah, actually you do. You put the end of the dagger into this thing, and you can see as you're trying to lift this thing out, it is a little bit like almost like a lattice, like a cage structure, but it's small, not much larger than an egg, like a big egg, but it comes to points at the top and the bottom. You fiddle with it a little bit, it slips off the end of the dagger a couple of times, but you finally get it at the right angle, kind of levering against the bear's body, and you pull this thing out. And it does look like it's an elliptical cage made out of some kind of a very thin, fine metal, and it was being inserted next to the bear.
There's evil afoot.
Yeah, I'm going to make a religion check.
So about destroying that heart.
Unnatural 20.
Speaking of a natural, Boris, that you recognize that shape as being the shape that is on your own religious talisman. It is the shape of an Adlai knave that's part of your own faith. It's part of your own religion.
I share that with the party and find a nice big rock to crush it between with my boot.
So as
You
you're
want to destroy the
as
the
you're
thing
about to make that that you're about to do that action itself, where your talisman, your Adlai knave symbol is two-dimensional. It's just like the outline. If you put like a wire coming out of the front and the back, and then at different cardinal points, it's like a little bird cage, but
right.
It's still that shape.
Can it sit on rock?
To be smashed.
on its side, it certainly could. But Jacob,
destroying your own holy symbol.
might want to.
No, I'm taking a corruption of my holy symbol out of a bear.
So you're very aware that there's no, the different emanations you're aware of that come within a range of you. Obviously, you couldn't pick up on this thing itself was radiating evil, but within your own knowledge of your own faith, you do recognize that this is a corruption of Ukko's own faith and what a knave symbol is supposed to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to take the heart out. I don't know what it was doing, but it's doing something evil. I'm taking the heart out of this bear so it can't.
Do you want to take it, or you just want to
No,
destroy
I'm going
it
to take
in
it out of the animal and destroy it.
Okay. So while
I'll keep
Jacob is
watch.
standing there looking,
Blood makes the
keeping
grass
watch.
grow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so Boris is shattering what looks like the symbol of his own church, and Zelen is now elbow deep in bear gore.
And Jacob is just reconsidering every single one of his choices he's ever made in his life.
as I smash the thing, I explain my awareness of it so he knows I'm not crazy.
Okay, good. So
You, on the other hand, Zelen, are on your own with that.
I don't know what it was trying to do, but whoever was doing something to this bear, it's not natural. And I'm going to protect this bear from having that fate.
I was all on board with destroying the heart. It was the taking it out first part that got me.
okay, so yeah, after a minute, you can cut the bear's heart out, and you now have a bear's heart about twice the size of a calf's heart.
And I'm going to cut it into pieces and bury it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that
Do you
is-
want to stir fry it while you're at it?
Eat your heart out.
bear
Look,
heart.
I'm not afraid.
Keeping perception during any of this, is there anything stirring in the woods while this is happening?
Roll it. Well, your passive perception, no.
Yeah.
But if you're actually looking for something,
Hey, that's better than my passive. 18.
everything has been calm. Everything's been still off in the distance.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm done with my heart.
Well, it's heart. It's not yours.
All right.
And I assume I have smashed up this little wire cage thing.
Yes, it's completely smashed.
I kick it in the river.
I don't know about you guys, but I want to look for a new place to camp.
Yeah, this seems like less of a good spot.
Let's track after whatever was playing around with a dead bear.
This one reeks of death.
How dark is it at this point? Can we track it, or is it getting too dark?
It's late in the afternoon. It is not. Night comes on early in narrow little creek valleys, so you probably have less time than you would have when you're out on the quiet Talfava in the boat. But you still have a number of hours before it's full dark.
Yeah,
And-
I say we try to track it for a while. What do you guys say?
Yeah, and not worry about trying to conceal our own passage so we can get a move on.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's do
Jacob,
that.
that means you're taking point.
Go, Jacob.
Yeah. Okay. We do that. Good idea, guys.
I'd love to go first. Roll it.
What are you, Krillin?
Survival, right?
Yes, sir.
9.
You pick up where the track is that leads out from this really mangled spot along the river now, but you're almost losing it right away. You'd have to really maybe just step away from the track and do your same circle you did before to make sure you're on the right trail right now.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
ask them, hold for a second. Let me see if I can pick up the trail. It's getting a little hard to follow.
Can I assist?
Do you have any kind of a tracking skill
I have
set at all?
survival, and that's a +6 for me.
Go ahead and roll with advantage, Jacob.
Her survival's higher than mine.
So you're a ranger that needs to be practicing more.
What in the world? Yeah, I guess you put in like an 18 in wisdom, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Explains why she's. Am I rolling with advantage?
Yes.
Explains why she's so much better than me at everything. 14.
Well, that's actually not why.
Okay.
Yes, you pick up the track and you're now following it further into the woods.
I'm glad my skill set doesn't overlap with either of yours, so I can be mediocre all on my own.
You're heading southeast, further up into the hills. It's taking you away from the creek at this point. So
I'll share that with you guys. We are traveling away from our final destination.
Yeah, but we've got an actual enemy now.
I agree.
And
I don't want this thing surprising us if it can crush a bear's neck.
Right.
And you've been following it for the better part of a half an hour. Boris, go ahead and roll an investigation, if you would, where these two are making sure they're following this track. It's following the natural contours of the hills that makes it easy to follow. It's taking the easiest path back out of this area. Boris, you're being very aware of where ambush spots would
12.
be. And you can tell there have been a couple where the embankment becomes very steep on on one side or the other, and you're tensed, you're ready for a fight, but then nothing happens as you go through that. But as the two of you talk to each other, Jacob's like, I think it's going to be bending around to the right, or it's going to go over that little bit of a hill right here. And again, it's full trees. It's woodland all around you. And Boris, you're aware of where these various ambush spots could be. It occurs to you, Jacob, that it's leading you on a path that you believe is going to take you right back down to cross itself where you've already walked. You're coming right back around to a place you've already been. Gotcha.
Are you taking up the rear, or is she?
I'd be at rear.
Yes.
So yeah, keep an eye on behind us, because it very well could be coming up from the rear.
Are we just like in the start of that bend, or have we gotten into the bend?
You're about 2/3 of the way through that bend where it's looping back around to head back to the trail you guys have just been on.
Okay, so it's however far ahead of us, it's already coming up behind. Let's loop back and hit it where it's not expecting us.
Okay.
So you're doing an about face then, turning around?
I don't think even changing marching order that I'd be taking point on the trail we've been cutting, because we've just been flat-heading rather than trying to hide it.
You should be able to see the trail that we were just walking through and follow that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy to with the disturbance of leaves and whatnot.
My question is it looping around to get back to us, or did it lead us away and is now going back for the bear?
Yes.
So that's
why we're doing this fast.
Let's get moving.
All right, so moving at your best possible speed, following this trail back, weapons drawn, I would imagine.
Yes. Been drawn.
Yeah, been drawn. You all tremble a little bit as
she
Zelen
doesn't need to
takes out
prepare.
a dart. The darts
Ignites
of
her
slaying.
hand and the rest of the woods around us.
I have not once set the woods on fire.
Not for lack of trying.
Thankfully, there was a river in the way the last time. You marched that way for about 10 minutes, Boris. Moving everyone at almost a jog down in this direction. Still, trying to be as aware of you as you possibly can. But you've not come upon this thing. Nothing has triggered your senses around you. It seems like whatever this thing is, definitely looped back around to your own track, but it would have hit that track in that loop closer to the creek than where you are now, following your track back.
Right, yeah.
You continue to follow it back. You get back to the bear. Jacob, go ahead and roll your survival skill.
11.
As you're getting back to, you guys are like, well, we're almost back to the creek and where the bear is again. You can pick up fresh boot prints in the trail.
Gotcha. Yeah. Immediately point that out, and I'll switch over to the taking point, and I will start following those.
Okay, so as you guys have your head on a swivel, you're walking right back down to where the bear is at the creek there. Jacob, you're following the boots right back down to it, and it looks as though this thing was standing right next to the bear. You can tell by how they've shifted that a person squatted down, got back up, moved a little bit, squatted down again, got back up, and then crossed the creek. So it looks like he was trying to do something with the bear, but was unable to do something with the bear, and was, to answer Boris's question, must have been going back for the bear first and not actually going after you guys.
I'd say we keep up the pursuit.
I agree.
Do we feel like we've gained time on him?
Well, it's a matter of how far ahead of you he was when he first looped back on you. So there's no way for you to know.
Looking at the prints, can I gauge how old the prints are?
Go ahead and roll a survival skill.
And maybe assist him, Zelen?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll definitely assist.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What was your first roll? What was your second roll?
First one was 18. Second one was a 20.
Oh, wow.
25.
I was going to say, that it passed this way within an hour, but with that advantage roll and those very, very good rolls, you believe it's passed this way within just the last 10 minutes.
10 minutes again. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's
100%.
go. Let's go.
You cross the creek and you're moving along this trail.
Do I pick up the boots again?
Go ahead and roll it on the far side.
I'm helping you.
It's like, yeah, there's water.
with
Maybe
advantage.
the tracks might be easier to
Slapping your
see.
microphone in the meantime.
Initially, yeah, the scene where they're on the far side,
23.
that you're positive, yeah, he crossed right here. He went up in this direction right there. And the spread of the actual tracks themselves looks as though he's moving at a run.
Well, it means he's not being
A
careful
creepy
about
run or
like an undead run, or
He's running
Is
like an
it a
undead
limp?
fiendish thing.
like obviously he's not being careful about not making a trail. So we should be able to keep up a higher pace and follow him as well if we want to start running too.
Let's
Good.
go.
So you follow him for the next 10
Yeah,
minutes.
be
and you
aware of
haven't-
ambush points or if he's looping back on us again.
Great.
Roger that. So go ahead and roll that as an investigation, Boris.
I'll make
Am
a
I being
survival.
helped?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're helping for sure.
Yeah. Let's say.
Okay, it's either a 19 or, yeah, let's go with that 19.
Okay, so noted on that one, you're looking for the ambush points. Jacob, you pick up on this. After you've traveled for that much time, you do note that his footprints are so far apart from each other that most people don't go running just through the woods. It's just too dangerous to do. This person seems downright reckless, that they're just running flat out. And as you actually pace off one of his paces, the size of the foot would indicate that he's a very typical sized man. You're between, call him 5'10", maybe 6 feet tall, somewhere in that neighborhood. But his stride is longer than what it should be for a person, even if they're on flat ground running flat out. You can tell this person runs faster than a person should be able to run. You don't know you're going to be able to catch him.
Gotcha. I'll share that, and then
How far away do I think? How far in front of us do we think he is?
I don't know if I'd be able to do that geometry with the how long the strides are comparatively. If he's running at a similar speed, but he's just running at a greater distance with each.
He's running faster than what you'd be able to run if you were on flat terrain, and he's running through rough terrain.
I can
fast.
cast entangle up to 90 feet.
If he was 90 feet away, we'd hear him or see him.
or hear him.
Okay.
Which I assume we're not, or are we?
That's correct. You're not.
Keeping in this whole time we've been running, I wanted to keep an eye out for any places again like similar tactic that they would loop around. And I see like off to the side there's a subtle break off point to where it could be the same path looping around this way.
Okay, so as you've all stopped and you're just listening at this point, you're still examining. I would think with this exchange, you're not actually moving as you're saying these things. Go ahead and roll your investigation as a listen.
All of us?
Yes,
And I assume we're helping each other?
sure.
17.
5.
19, yes. I waited.
A good distance away, further up into the hills, you do hear what sounds like a person, maybe a deer. It's moving like it's just moving as fast as a deer through the woods, and not a human being is running. And they sound like they're a long way away. But it doesn't sound like they're looping back on you. It's as though they're just trying to get distance away from you. Like all of that was too close for them as well.
Okay.
Man, this guy.
I'm guessing it's getting close to dark now.
It is. It's getting much. Yeah, you've been tracking this guy, been led around in different directions for the better part of an hour and a half, 2
All right,
hours.
I can try to call a bird to me and see if they can
No,
see it.
He's too far off. We're
See
not
if
going
I
to be able
could-
to catch him.
No, just see if I could send the bird to go and tell us anything about it. I mean, it's only going to be able to describe what it is or the direction it's going. That's all we're going to get from it.
I mean, it might be worth doing. You can try it. Maybe we'll loop back to the creek and set up camp by the fresh water.
Yeah, but let's not set it up by the bear.
No. But we do want water.
Yeah, so you guys ran up here for like the past, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Walking back might take you 20 to get back to the creek or so.
Right,
and
yeah.
by that time, it's going to be pretty close to dark.
Yeah.
So you're either setting up camp right here or you're heading back down to the creek.
If you don't want to be near the bear, we're setting up camp here.
Yeah, I say we set up camp here. What do you say?
He's ditched the bear once, and that is the better campsite.
Investigation, Boris?
Yeah, sure. 18.
You can recall a spot you thought as a potential ambush spot that's on one side of the creek just 5 minutes away, further back down in the direction. That might give you more of a defensive spot if you're looking for someplace to be that's just not right on the trail.
I share that point then.
Great.
I like that idea.
Let's go there.
Set up camp, keep watches.
Yep. Dark camp.
Yes.
Yeah, dark camp makes sense.
53.
You get to the top of that hill. You're set. I call it a hill. It's just a little bluff that's right above where the trail is. It's not that big a spot. It's not that wide a spot. You're a little bit off the trail if anything came down through that same direction again. But you feel a little more secure that something approaching you would be very obvious and a very visible thing to get this close to you.
Right.
Versus the thick brush that grows all along the creek itself. So if anything, you feel a little more secure that it's a little more open.
While we're taking time to set up camp, I will go and take extra care in hiding any tracks that we broke off from the main trail to get up to this ambush point.
Okay, go ahead and roll your survival skill.
Zillan, do you want to come help me with this?
Sure. I'd be happy to help.
14.
Okay, yeah, you do the best job that you can. It looks pretty good. And you get back to the top of the little bit of the knoll there, and Boris is there ready for you. And you guys sit down, and night is coming on.
How far away are we from the bear at this point?
About a 10 to 15 minute walk back down the trek that you just came up.
If it
I
takes
was
the
just
same
thinking-
paths, it might come past us.
Well, I was just thinking to ask any of the animals that are in this area if they saw anything, if they saw what happened, or if they.
So would you have the ability to call an animal to you? Because it isn't like being just outside of your own house where the birds come into the garden, they're flying around. The three of you, and maybe that thing, have pretty much scared the little critters away. It isn't like there's just squirrels right by you at the moment.
Can't speak with animals like,
But
hey,
if I have food, then they might come. It just says I can comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for duration of spell and get them to do things.
At the moment, it seems like things are avoiding you.
Okay.
So you can find out again if something...
It's my reputation.
I know a dead bear you could talk to.
if you could talk to something like that.
Yeah, no, because we haven't known her to be exactly the communication type. She just kills them.
Yeah, you're a bit more druid militant.
Battle druid.
You're-
So who's on the first watch?
I'll take first watch.
All right, so it's going to be Boris, and then
I'll take second.
Jacob, and then Zelen. Okay, and just splitting up the night into thirds that way?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So time elapses. It gets dark. You really can't even see each other. Dark in the woods is really, really dark. And Boris, at the end of your watch, you wake up. Jacob, nothing in particular happened. You didn't hear any sounds out of the ordinary while you were spending your night at the watch.
Right.
Jacob, go ahead and roll your investigation.
Unnatural 20.
Nice. During your watch, you do hear something moving that sounds like it is a larger animal moving through the brush. It's difficult to say. Most animals will be bedded down at this point. Some animals, like bears, will move through the night. Most deer, they'll find a spot, bed down, and they'll stay that way until pre-dawn to head toward water again. But something is moving, and it seems very deliberate in how it's moving. But you would guess this like way, way further up into the hills. You're only hearing it because there's no competing sounds. But something is definitely...
Does it sound like it's moving quickly?
Yes, still a very, very quick movement.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can just
Then,
imagine how the leaves are being kicked up as this thing's must be at a flat run.
yeah. So I wake up Zelen and Boris and I say, something. It's moving towards us. It's moving quickly.
Not toward you. You heard
Oh.
it moving
kind of above
way
us.
off in the distance. Yeah.
Oh, I thought, okay.
What direction?
It would be going from west to east.
Okay.
Beyond that, you're so turned around these hills, it's just a direction.
Right. North of us or south of us?
That'd be south of you.
Okay. It's not cutting us off from the horseshoe.
I thought it was moving towards us. My bad. How far away would I gauge it to be?
Tough to say in the nighttime. Go ahead and roll a different survival, a different DC for that one.
19.
19. Nice. Well, with your first roll,
Yeah.
even without any kind of advantage. I'm not sure how you'd help on that one exactly.
Well, listening and pointing, was
Cups
that
my
it?
ears.
Yeah. Here's for you.
Points in the pitch black darkness.
The rules say I can, that's how.
You would gauge somewhere more than 1,000 feet away, long way away, maybe even 1,000, 1,500 feet away.
Very, 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 Very far.
up into the woods, further in the hills up above you.
Yep.
Then at a certain point, everybody beds back down again, and then Zelen, you're
on
reawakened.
watch.
It seems like about 30 seconds later, it's Jacob yet again, but this time it's to tell you that it's your watch. And during your watch, you don't hear any sounds like that. It seems like the natural nighttime sounds. As daylight's coming on, and both of the men are starting to move just a little bit, and you're just sitting, I guess, with your back against a tree, you do see that some bluebirds are moving, twittering through the camp itself.
So I cast Speak with Animals
Okay, go ahead.
and begin speaking with the bluebirds. I ask them,
So you probably give one of them. I think it's
yeah,
just
either one. Yeah.
So that the one, it stops, it takes toward you. The other one, flies away, and this one jumps even closer and lands on a branch, and seems very attentive as it's sitting on a rhododendron.
Did you come from Hiller
Um,
or Warland?
it's expressing confusion. It doesn't know either the name Hiller or Warland.
Forget what the woman's name was in the town. The druid woman.
Did people send you? I think is a
Oh,
more
there we
simple
go. That's
question.
a good idea. Did people send you to me?
No, people didn't send me.
Do you live here?
I live here.
Did you see the bear?
I've seen bears.
Did you see the bear by the creek?
I saw a dead bear.
Did you see the bear die?
No.
Did you see other people?
I saw the man.
Where did the man go?
He runs through the woods.
Does he run through the woods a lot?
I've not seen him before yesterday.
Did you see which way the man ran?
He runs everywhere. He's run all through the woods all night.
Does he run by himself?
He does.
Does he run fast?
He runs very fast. He runs like a deer.
I'm going to wake up Jacob and Boris and
While you're talking, they're probably waking up and rolling over and looking at you as you're talking to this
and
bird.
share what I've heard so far to find out if there's anything else they want me to ask. Did the man who runs kill the bear?
The man who runs was near the bear, but I didn't see that the man killed the bear.
Have you seen the man? What else have you seen the man do?
He runs, he stops, he looks, he listens, he smiles, and he runs more.
Can you think of any way to convince the bird to follow him and report back to us?
I can ask. Do you know where the man is now?
No.
Well, there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it
Where
wouldn't
did
be
you
like
last see
immediate
the
return
man?
on investment. It would be like, oh, next time you see him, can you follow him and then come find us? We'll be.
Well, the spell won't last that long.
Oh, no, it's just when the bird comes back to you.
Cast it
you just
again. Yeah.
Okay. So if you see the man, would you come find me?
I could come find you. The next time I see the man stop and look at the stone, I could try to come find you.
What stone is the man looking at?
A stone he keeps in his pocket.
And when he looks at the stone, does it make him smile?
He smiles whenever he looks at the stone.
So he smiles whenever he looks at the stone. Does he change direction when he looks at the stone?
Sometimes.
He's a weirdo. He must be a druid.
I'm not
Remember, blood makes the grass grow.
I'm not playing barbarian anymore, so I can't make weird assumptions about spellcasters. So,
What else could we know? So he's running through the woods. Like, does he run all day and all night? Have you ever seen him sleep?
I've never seen him sleep. He wasn't here before yesterday. We thought he was with you.
No, he's not with me. He's not our friend. Have you seen him eat?
No.
when was the last time you saw him?
When was the last time you saw him?
When the sun was growing dim, but I could hear him.
Did you hear which way he was going the last time you heard him?
So I'm guessing all these are coming from you, Zone. He runs always. He runs in different places. He runs like a coyote that's crazy. He runs like a fox that doesn't know better, or a fox that's chasing a rabbit. He turns, he runs, he goes a different way, as though he's trying to throw something off.
And he stops and looks at the stone a lot.
Yes.
Have you ever seen him dig in the ground?
No. I saw him digging a bear.
That got
Wow,
you.
Jacob.
You are purple. I love this bird now.
You ever see him dig around? No, but I saw him digging a bear.
Anything else?
Birds are carnivorous.
So if you see him near, will you tell me?
I'll try to find you.
Okay. He's not our friend, so that would help us.
The bird just communicates its agreement with a nod, and the spell runs out, and then the bird flies away.
Yeah.
Any other actions?
So it's looking at a stone as it's walking around. It's like it checks the stone and it smiles.
Could it be a compass that the bird doesn't know any better?
It could be. It could be a compass, but then why would it keep changing directions?
Because he doesn't know how to read a compass.
I'm wondering if it's like the person that we killed at the Black Stairs.
Yeah, like Olaf, if it's looking for some particular bit.
Right, exactly. I wonder if it's possible that it's tracking one of the stones that we're still carrying.
Well, let's keep those on us and find out.
Yeah, it would have gotten to us by now if it was running all night.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
If nothing else,
we can ask it after I've cut its head off.
He doesn't seem very chatty anymore.
All right, so do we head?
Yeah,
Birds don't seem chatty to me, but you find a way.
the waterfall is north. I say let's keep going.
Break camp and
head towards the
get back
waterfall.
to the creek.
Yeah, I
and
think I
head
gave
up.
a misdirection. The waterfall is actually heading further south. I think I turned everything around at one point. So
Yeah.
we are heading south and east further into the Brimroar Hills.
Oh,
My bad.
All right.
So it is cutting us off from.
So it was cutting you off when I said it was further to the south. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah. Or rats. Rats is so much better.
But who knows, because it's been running
not what I feel.
back and forth all night. So
Right, but when we
knows?
heard it,
yeah. So
get back to the creek.
I agree, and let's
follow it.
head towards the waterfall.
So you get back into your track. You gather up any gear you have right there. You don't see those bluebirds, in particular at this point. Are you heading back to the creek to follow the creek up, or are you paralleling the creek? What are you going to try to do, Jacob?
Yes.
Which one?
Taking this. yes.
Yes, both.
Similar to what we were doing on the way up here, just following along the creek, staying alongside of it, keeping it in good proximity to us as we're continuing towards the waterfall.
Okay, good. Yeah, for the most part, it gets starer. It gets steeper and narrower as you head further up the creek. So it's difficult to parallel the creek without going very slowly. Walking on a steep angled hill alongside. So being in the creek or the stones right along the edge of the creek is the best route. You don't hear any other sounds, but as you're moving further up, it gets narrower. It's getting steeper. The creek itself is more like rapids that are falling, and you're you're all three aware that this thing is still out there somewhere, and it's still following you. Thanks for adventuring with us. Learn more about the world of Jordan, the podcast, and us at theempiresedge.com and mattsinkovich.com. That's MATTSINCEVICH.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at The Empire's Edge.